Good morning, everyone. Welcome to June. I hope that you guys are having a great start to your day. So June gloom, I don't know where you guys are at, but it is pretty dreary outside here. So we got to try and turn that gloom to something a little bit more positive. And a lot of times in our hips, we end up trapping and holding on to old emotions, unwanted feelings. And so today, I think starting of June, we'll kind of release that so we can go on into our month and have a little bit more positive outlook. So let's go ahead and we'll start in a comfortable seated position. It's always best, I think, to start on the floor and then we'll work our way up. Rock the sit bones from side to side so you can really ground the booty into the floor. And then if this isn't comfortable, you can have the legs in any cross position. Ladies, usually the left shin is in front to start. Gentlemen, the right shin in front to start. And then let's just go ahead and all arrive in this space and this time together. Now, as you bring the palms face down on the knees, pull the shoulder blades together and lift through the sternum. So lift the heart up towards the chin, but I want you to tuck the chin so that the back of the neck is long and you're lifting through the top of the head towards the ceiling. You'll pull the belly button towards the spine, close the eyes, start with a smile on your face as you seal the lips. And as you bring all of your awareness to your breath, breathing in and out of the nose, can you start to calm and quiet the mind? Let go of anything that has happened this morning. Release any plans for the afternoon. And then also think about any stress or tension or repetitive negative thoughts that might be trapped within. See if we can use this time to mindfully let those go. And we'll take one more full breath here, keeping the eyes and the lips sealed. And with the eyes and the lips sealed, hands come together in front of the heart. Press the thumbs into the heart. Feel the connection of the sit bones to your present space. Lift the crown of the head up to the skies. And in this moment here, maybe think about one thing that you can release that you are having trouble letting go of. Maybe it's excess worry, maybe doubt or frustration. Use this time to gather all of those feelings, all of those negative feelings, and see if you can use this time wisely to release anything that is not serving you to be your highest good. And then we'll blink the eyes open. Try and keep that smile on your face throughout the practice if possible. And then so let's go ahead and come onto our backs. When you come down, have the feet onto the floor. Have the feet hip width distance apart, kind of close to the sit bones if possible, and feel the low back, the sacrum, the mid back, and the shoulders connecting to the floor. Hands can be at the hips or on the belly to start. Then I just want you to feel how the low back and the hips are feeling here. Bring the right knee into the chest. And as you pull the right knee in, you can soften through that right hip. If this is uncomfortable or inaccessible, then I suggest wrapping the hands behind the right hamstring. Wherever you are, you're still pulling the knee closer to the chin, but notice if the collarbone started to creep up and the shoulders started to creep up to the ears. Soften the shoulders, wiggle them down the mat or down the floor, but still hug that right knee into your chest. You can keep the left foot where it is or extend it out if that's more comfortable. And then keep pulling the right knee in, but see if you can push the right hip forward. Roll out the right ankle in one direction. And get the top of the foot, the Achilles, and then rotate in the other direction. And then if that foot is, the left foot is extended, walk it back onto the mat. Place the right ankle on top of the left thigh. And we'll lift the left foot off of the floor, and you're going to thread the hands around the left hamstring. And try and keep the left ankle in line with the left knee, and both feet are flexed. Push the right knee forward, and then you should feel a nice little stretch along the outer right thigh, maybe the inner right hip too, or the inner right thigh as well. As you pull the left knee closer to the face, at the same time, you're going to press the right knee forward, a little bit of opposite action. Don't forget to breathe. Take another breath here, seeing if you can bring softness to wherever you can. You can keep the eyes closed if that's okay. Release the left foot all the way down to the floor, and you're going to cross the right leg to where there's no space between the thighs. Open up the arms out to a T or a cactus shape, depending on what feels good for the chest. And then I like to scoot the hips over to the right a little bit, pull the navel up and in towards the spine. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, we'll let the knees fall over to the left. The gaze can be straight to the ceiling if that's okay for the neck. If you want a little bit more stretch, then turn the gaze towards the right arm. You should feel a stretch along the left side of the neck. The face will be opposite of the knees. And once you find that sweet spot, you don't have to go into a full twist. It's wherever your body feels comfortable. Once you are in that spot, close the eyes. See if you can settle here for a breath. It's in the stillness where these changes take place in the body and space is created. So on the next inhale, let's go ahead and we'll come back to center. Press into the left foot and release the right foot down. Make sure that the hips are aligned back with the shoulders. And then let's go on to that opposite side, interlacing the hands around the left shin or the left hamstring. You can keep the right foot on the floor or extend the foot forward. Wherever you are, you still want to pull the left knee closer to the chin, but can you feel the left hip press down and forward? Relax the shoulders. Notice here too, if you started to clench the jaw, bring softness to the face. Continue to breathe deeply in and out of the nose, pulling the left knee closer towards the chin. And then let's rotate the left ankle in one direction, rotate that foot. You should hear maybe a few pops and cracks. And then let's rotate the opposite direction. Notice how this side might feel a little bit different than the other. And then we'll pause here. Keep pulling the left knee closer to the chin. Right hip moves forward. And then if the right leg is extended forward, let's walk the foot onto the floor. Left ankle, places on top of the right knee. And then you can stay here, or you're lifting the right foot and interlacing the hands around the right hamstring. Flex both feet. Make sure that the right ankle is in line with the right knee. And as you pull the right thigh closer to the face, feel the left knee press forward. And for me here, I feel it on the outer left hip, but I also am feeling this into the lower back. So just be mindful of where the body is tight. Take a full cycle of breath here to settle. Relax the shoulders. Breathe deeply. Release the right thigh. Right foot comes to the floor. Cross the left leg all the way over. Anything that feels comfortable with the arms out to a T or a cactus. Press into the right foot to scoot the hips over to the left. And then you'll gently let the knees fall down to the right on your exhale. Navel comes towards the spine. Try and keep both shoulders connected to the floor so you can open up across the chest. The gaze can stay towards the ceiling, or maybe you turn it opposite the knees towards the left hand. You should feel a stretch along the right side of the neck if you turn the gaze. Wherever you choose to be, take a full cycle of breath in stillness to settle. Use your next inhale to come back to center. We're going to bring the knees back into center, press into the feet. Left foot comes down next to the right, and then just look down, make sure that the hips are in line with the shoulders. And then we'll bring both knees now into the chest. Two different options here of coming up. You can engage the core, begin to rock forward and backwards on the spine. And if you do that, make sure you get all the way into the back of the neck. The other option would be to be on the back. You can rock and roll from side to side, and then just roll over onto the right side and use that left hand to press up. And you'll walk yourself up. So whatever option for you feels good. Come back to our seated position here. Extend the arms out and up as you inhale. Grab the right wrist with the left hand and inhale to lengthen. When you exhale, lean over to the left side. Soften the right shoulder down the back. And then can you turn the left ribs slightly towards the ceiling? Take one more full cycle of breath here in stillness. And then use your next inhale to come back to center. Switch wrists, lengthen up towards the ceiling. The exhale will lean us over to the right side. Soften through that left shoulder. Make sure both sit bones stay connected to the floor. And then just notice how this side is a little bit different than the other. Can you rotate the right ribs up slightly? Find your breath to find stillness here. And then we'll inhale to come back to center. Extend both fingertips up. As you exhale, hands come back down to the heart. Close the eyes. Remember what you want to release here. Take a full deep breath in and a full breath out. Keep the smile on your face. We're going to cross over the ankles and come into our table pose. Feel the knees right underneath the hips. Navel comes to the spine, and I want you to reach the heart forward. Wrists are right underneath the shoulders though as well. Fingers are spread wide. Tops of the feet are onto the floor. So the middle finger should be pointing forward, but then I want you to rotate the weight in between the pointer finger and thumbs. Slightly spread through the shoulder blades so you're not dumping the weight between the chest or dumping the chest between the shoulders. Just slightly press up. I want you to lengthen the crown of the head forward. So for me, this feels pretty intense on my wrists. So I want to send as much breath into those areas of tightness. Take one more full breath here in table pose. And then so you're going to either stay here in table pose. If you want to move into downward facing dog, we're going to walk the hands forward just slightly. If you stay in table pose, don't let this become a passive position though. You're still pressing the earth away with the palms and the tops of the shins. Navel is working and you're reaching the crown forward and the booty back. If we're moving into downward facing dog, walk the palms forward, just one handprint. Tuck the toes under. Take a big, deep inhale to lift the knees just slightly off the ground. Press the booty back. As you exhale, let's lift the hips all the way up to the ceiling and come into downward facing dog. So if you're in table, still keep the integrity of the pose. And if you come into downward facing dog, maybe pedal out the feet here. You can always switch from table to downward facing dog as well. Wherever you choose to be in this moment, let's all take a full cycle of breath in stillness. Look forward And I want you to bring the right foot between the palms. So if you're in downward facing dog, lift the right leg up and look forward. If you're in table, just help the foot between the palms. And you can walk it forward, and then we're all lowering the left knee and untucking the toes. Make sure that the ankle is underneath the right knee, and then press into the fingertips. You can have the palms on the earth. I like to have the fingertips, though, just to give me a little bit more reach. If you have blocks, you can also bring the hands underneath the blocks just to get a little bit more extension. Wherever you are, you're reaching the heart forward. Tuck the chin slightly so you feel the ears in line with the shoulders. Engage the core. And I want you to really root into the entire foot, all the corners of the right foot. On your next inhale, we'll use our breath to come up into a low lunge. 2 ways: you can rise all the way up, or you can use this right knee to help you. So I like to use the knee sometimes because my hips get a little bit tight or my low back is sore. So maybe starting here, sink into this front left hip. So if you can, maybe walk the right foot forward so we're not as square in the left hip. We have a little bit more stretch. And then when you're ready, let's bring the arms right alongside the ears. Reach the fingertips up to the ceiling, but then pull the shoulder blades down the back. If this is a little bit too intense, then bring the hands to the heart. You're still pressing into the ball of that right foot, so you're not sinking too much in there, but you should feel a stretch in the front of this left hip. Hands can be at either of those positions. And then wherever you are, engage the core. So then that way you're not just dumping in the weight here. So the core is engaged. Bring the belly button in towards the spine and then feel it lift up towards the chin. Take another full breath wherever you choose to be here. And then let's bring the hands down in front of us inside of the right foot. Hug the right shoulder with the right knee. And if that's too much, then you can always walk the foot out a little bit wider. So I'll show you here. So we're all in that low lunge. I have my right foot next to my right hand, and I'm hugging the right knee close to my right shoulder. If that's too much, then just walk that right foot out a little bit. So we're in a lizard pose here. Keep pressing the palms away. And again, if this is a little bit too much, you can always stay in that low lunge position. We're just going a little bit deeper in the hips when we come down to the floor. So wherever you choose to be, the options are for everyone, because I could wake up tomorrow and not be able to get as deep, or tomorrow you might be able to get deeper. So we always want to think about these different options. If you want a little bit more stretch in that left hip, tuck the left toes under and scoot the left knee back. And we're all just going to stay here for about 2 breaths. Keep pressing the earth away. Maybe tuck the chin so that the back of the spine is long. 1 more full breath in and a full breath out. So you can, what I like to do is I like to tuck the left toes back and just inch the left knee forward a little bit so it takes a little bit of pressure off of my left hip. We're all pressing into the palms and finding our table pose once again. So when you come back into table pose, right knee comes back next to the left. And then I like to wag the hips here, especially since we're working into the hips. Pause for a moment. Press the earth away. Make sure that the middle fingers are pointing forward. That weight is rotating in between the pointer finger and thumb. And then I want you to pause here. Notice how the left hip feels different compared to the right. And then when you're ready, you're either going to stay here or you're going to walk the hands forward, 1 handprint, tuck the toes and lift the hips, come into downward facing dog. So you're either in table pose or the hips are lifted into downward facing dog. If you're in dog pose, press the floor down and forward, almost like if you were on a mat, you're trying to extend the mat in opposite directions. Lift the sit bones nice and high. And then everyone, whether you're in table pose or downward facing dog, feel the shoulder blades move away from the back of the skull. Take one more full breath. And then let's bring the left foot now between the palms. Help it forward. Walk it forward so that the ankle is right underneath the knee. And then we're all lowering the right knee and untucking the toes. Come up onto the fingertips. Find that long line of energy from the spine. And then if you want, you can tuck those right toes back and move the knee back so you have more of a stretch in front of the right hip. Look forward, reach the heart up towards the chin. And then your choice, you can either come up using the left knee or engage the core and rise all the way up with one breath. Make sure that your alignment is where it should be, that the ankle is right underneath the knee. And the knee's not going, the left knee's not going past the ankle. And as you reach the fingertips up, soften the shoulder blades down the back. Everyone's core is working here, so then that way you're not just dumping the weight into the hips. Take another full breath wherever you are. And then take one more breath to see if you can find a little bit of length through the torso. Maybe look up with your balance. And then exhale to bring the hands down to the inside of the left foot. You can choose to stay here. You can walk that foot a little bit wider if that feels better for the hip. You can always bring that right knee in, coming into more of a low lunge pose. If you want a little bit more in that right hip, again, we're tucking the toes and scooting the knee back. Find the position that feels good for you. Hug the left knee close to that left shoulder. Just don't let it, start to splay out towards the side. And then you can be on your fingertips or on the palms, but feel the chin tucked in the spine nice and long. Relax the shoulders. Once you find your sweet spot to settle in, take a full breath in stillness. Really nice, you guys. Tuck the right toes under and scoot the right knee up. And then however you want to get back into table pose, bring that left knee back. You can press into the palms. Wag the hips from side to side so you kind of just feel that difference and you balance both sides. And then find table pose here. And just notice now that little bit of balance that you brought into both thighs. Close the eyes here, press back into a child's pose. You can stack the palms, stack the fists, whatever feels good for you. But I just want you to take a moment here. If the low back is sore and this is a little bit inaccessible, then have the knees a little bit wider and the big toes touching. And then sometimes I'll just come onto my forearms and press the sit bones back towards the heels. And so even in this pose here, this is a somewhat of a resting passive pose. You can always come onto the sides if it's not comfortable for the knees, or just come onto a seated pose. But taking some time to close the eyes and come back to your breath. We're always in a rush to get something done or to get somewhere. Remembering to slow down so we can truly appreciate each moment that we are given. And take one more full breath here. And then we'll all rise back up, finding your smile, finding table pose. When you find table pose, two ways that you can come into this next, or two options you can come into this next variation. We're going to find pigeon pose. So I'm going to show you the first way, and then I'll show you the alternative. So bring the right knee towards the right wrist, and you're going to keep the foot flexed, and then how we did earlier, heel toe that left knee back. Keep a flex in this foot to protect the knee. And if that right glute is so far away from the floor, then stuff a pillow or a block underneath the right side of the booty. And then here, you can stay here in pigeon pose. For me, this feels really good in my low back. You want to think about lifting the heart up towards the chin, not just arching the back. So if this is your pose, that's great. You can soften the shoulders away from the ears. If you want, you can also hinge over this front bent thigh, the front right shin. Come onto the forearms. You can stack the palms. Keep the foot flexed and feel the left toes pressing down into the floor and extending back, almost like you're trying to reach the toes behind you. So this is one option for pigeon pose. This is a pretty intense variation. The other way we can do is how we started earlier on our back. So you would just bring that right ankle on top of the left knee and pull the left knee closer to the chin, but push the right knee forward. So same options, just on your back. So wherever you choose, find what feels good for you in this moment. And then take a few breaths in stillness. Remember, stillness is where the body is allowed to open and those changes can start to settle in and take place. All of the benefits of our practice settle into the stillness and the openness that is created. And take one more full breath. And then we'll switch sides. If you're on your back, you can go ahead and stay on your back. Bring both feet to the floor if you're on your back, and pause though with the feet on the floor for a moment. And if you're hinged forward, let's all tuck the left toes under, press into the palms, release the right knee, come back into table pose. For me, I like to roll out my right hip, maybe extend it to the back, roll out the ankle, just because we were on it for a little bit. And then we'll all come onto the opposite side. If you're on your back, go ahead and bring the opposite ankle to the top of the right knee. And then if you're coming into pigeon pose hinged forward, bring the left knee to the left wrist. Flex the foot and start to heel toe that right knee back. So you'll press into the toes to extend the knee back. Left foot is flexed. Reach the heart forward, but soften the hips towards the floor. If there's a lot of space between the left glute and the floor, put a pillow underneath there, or you can put a block underneath just to bring the floor up a little bit more. And then settle here, soften the shoulders down the back. Choose if you want to stay here upright, or as you exhale, begin to hinge forward over that left shin. Find any arm variation. And then once you find that sweet spot, close the eyes, take your breaths in stillness here. Take one more full breath. And then we'll all begin to rise up. If you were on your back, step the left foot next to the right and pause here. If you're hinged forward, let's all tuck the right toes under, press into the palms to release the left knee. Extend the left leg back to the back of the mat, roll out the ankle, anything that feels comfortable for you. And then let's all come down, find a seated position that's comfortable for you. If you started the practice with the left shin forward, then let's just switch the crossing. So now the right shin would be forward. Rock the sit bones from side to side, close the eyes, lift through the heart, pull the shoulder blades together behind the back. And then you can choose to keep the palms face down on the knees or bring the hands together in front of the heart. With the eyes closed, the lips sealed. Take one more breath, remembering what you want to release, that negative feeling, negative energy, negative words that are repeated, actions. And then now can you Take this next breath and envision what you want to replace it with. Maybe a smile on your face, maybe engaging and speaking to one another more kindly. But it takes this vision and the actions to make it happen. It's not just going to happen by wishing or thinking. We have to put the actions behind our intentions. So take one more full breath here. Keep the smile on your face. Blink the eyes open. Namaste. All right, you guys, thanks so much for your practice today. I hope that that was a good practice for everyone and you were able to let go a little bit and be present for a moment. Remember, you're not going to be present for the entire practice. There's distractions going on. Our mind is always thinking. So it's in those little small moments where you forget that you're practicing. That's what we're looking for. And every day that practice will get a little bit longer and you'll be able to be present a little bit more. And then some days you might not ever be able to be present for the whole practice. So I appreciate you guys joining me and supporting yourself and supporting, me being able to teach. And let me know if you guys have any questions or there's anything that you need for yourself. And thanks for your time today. Have a really great day and happy June.